Right, guys, welcome back again to this RHCE exam training video class. If you follow my videos on the previous video, I tried to create the base image for the Red 7, and then we have it ready, which is this one. So we don't have to go through all the hoops that we did before. All we have to do is just clone this against the snapshot, and then we go from there to create the other three server. So let's tackle it. So what we're gonna do is just go to the manage, and then you do a clone, and we're gonna clone it from the existing snapshot, and we want a linked clone, and I'm gonna call this one the IPA and hit finish. Alright, so while we are here, let's just do the other three server right away so we get that done from our point. So on existing again, just like the way we did the IPA, and we're gonna call this one, let's call it server 1. Alright, and let's do that one more time. Server 2. Alright, so let's go and let's start with the IPA server. So let's power this on. Alright, so IPA is ready. Let's log into it. Alright, so let's open our terminal and just start doing the configuration. So the first thing that we want to do is to assign an IP to the server, and I really like to play clean, so I like to delete everything that is in there. So first, let me show you what I have in there. I just have one internet interface here, so I'm gonna delete that, and I'm gonna call a new one. Let's call it EX0. I want the same interface. The tab is gonna be Ethernet. I want it to show up anytime that I boot up the computer, so I need to auto connect. I like to assign the IP of 10.0.100. I will give him 90 on the /24, and the gateway is gonna be 10.0.0.1. Those IP are very private to mine. Yours can be totally different, so you have to check with your router and see what IP you have and what subnet you have. Alright, that's all I need for this command, I believe. So the next thing we want to do is modify that, and IPv4 that method, make sure it's set up for being manual, and also I want to put the DNS to point at itself, because this is going to be the IPA server, so we want the DNS to point out to itself. Alright, and looks like that's all we need to do right here. So let's shut down the interface and bring it back up. Okay, let's try if you can reach out. Alright, looking good. So now the next thing we're gonna do is to change the host name of this server. So we're gonna call it IPA.example.com, and then what we're gonna do next is to edit the host file. So this is 10.10.00.90, and we call it IPA.example.com, and also go by short name by IPA. And I like to go back and just do the rest of them while I'm here. So server 1, we'll use that IP. Call server 1, and I'll just copy that one. Just name it server 2. Alright, let me save that file. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do on this file, and then from there I think we are ready to go and start the IPA installation. So let me double check that I have my repo handy. Yeah, it's created here, so very good. Alright, so let's start creating the IPA server. So we have to download some packages, and those packages are IPA server bind, and also the LDAP. So IPA server, we want the bind dash dy, believe is ndb for LDAP. Looking better now. Alright, I think I'm gonna pause this video for the time being. Alright, it looks like it's completed now. So what we're gonna go next is to start the install. So let me clear this page, and to do that is just simple as IPA server install, and you want to set up the DNS. So here is asking you if you want to override the existing band configuration. Yes, and that's our host name. Just hit enter. The rel is correct. The password for the manager, I just like to keep it super hard. Just kidding, it's password. Do you want to configure the DNS for water? Yes. So the IP for the DNS for water is your gateway. So mine is 10.0.0.0.1. So it depends on whatever you have set up as your gateway. Enter the IP for DNS for water. We don't have any other to add, so I hit enter. Do you want to configure the reverse? Yes, I want to, and this is what I want as a default, and hit enter. So it's gonna check if everything looks clean. I have my IP address for this one, this is my host name, and my domain name is this, and this is my realm. So, and my forwarder as those one, and my reverse as shows up just fine. So I everything looks clean for me. I just hit yes, and then it's gonna start doing his magic. So while he's doing that, I'm just gonna pause the video and resume it once everything is done. Alright, it looks like everything is completed. As you can see, the setup is complete, and now the next step, as they say, we have to make sure those ports are open, so we need to add those to our firewall. So to do that, let me just extend my screen here, so I'm gonna clear this one. So we just do a firewall command and make sure that it's permanent. I'm just gonna put all of them together. So HTTPS, of course. I have the LDAP-S, Kerberos, DNS, key password, and then NTP. I think that should do most of them. So I have HTTP, HTTPS, LDAP, LDAP-S, Kerberos, 53 is DNS, NTP, and key password is to manage the Kerberos password while we have to authenticate it using the other two server 1 and server 2. So I think that's pretty much all we need here. Let's make sure that let's survive the reboot. Alright, so let's try and see if our Kerberos obtain the password for the admin. Yep, so we did not have any error. That looks good so far. Next thing we're gonna do is to make sure that we have our default shell set up for the bash, because by default it's set up just for the shell, the binsh. So what we need to do is the IPA config default shell equal bin bash. Okay, so that part is done. Next, what we're gonna do is to add our LDAP user. So user IPA user add, and the name of the user. So I like to keep it simple. LDAP user 1, first name LDAP user 1, LDAP user 1, and I like to create two of them. So LDAP user 2, LDAP user 2. Alright, and then we're gonna go and assign them a password, of course. So IPA password LDAP user 1. So my very secure password, and then LDAP user 2. Okay, so that part also is done. So now what we're gonna do is gonna add the two server, the client server and the host server, to the IPA. So the command to do that is the IPA host add command. IP address. So it's going to be 10.0.0.91 for server 1.example.com, and we do the same for server 2. It's going to be 92. Next is to add the NFS entry as a service for the IPA, because we're gonna need it for the NFS objective of the RHCE exam. So to do that is the IPA service add NFS slash server 1.example, if I can spell example properly, example.com, and we do the same for the server 2. So now we're gonna add the entry to the key tab file for the Kerberos to be able to authenticate it with the other two clients. So to do that, we have to get into our Kerberos admin local console. So to get access to that is simple as kadmin.local, and here we can add the keys. So to kt add NFS for server 1.example.com, and same for server 2. Okay, and then we just quit this one. So what is going to be the next step is to copy those keys over NFS and put into our FTP file. So before we go there, we need to do a quick install for the FTP server, vsftpt. Okay, and make sure that the system is enabled and running. Okay, so that's all we have to do over there, and then now we can generate the key tab and to copy them over the NFS server. Alright, so it's gonna be IPA get key tab -s for the server name, IPA.example.com -p is gonna be NFS server 1.example.com -k, and we're gonna start it into our var FTP pub, and we name it server 1.keytab. You can start it everywhere you want. I personally like to start onto my FTP server. That way I can easily download it from the other server. So it's totally up to you how you want to customize this, but this is my own way to do it. You don't have to follow my configuration, but if you stick with this, that will show consistency throughout the classes. So, and then we're gonna do the same for server 2. Alright, and we make sure that we change the permission to 644 and var FTP pub and everything that is ending with key tab. Looking good so far. So next thing is to allow the zone transfer from our local network. So let me clear the screen, and to do that is IPA DNS zone -mod and allow transfer, and we need to specify the subnet, I believe. Yeah, we need to give the subnet. Mine is 10.0.0.0 on the 24 subnet, and the domain is example.com. Okay, that one is done. So now we can make sure that our IPA can send can be used as a central email server, and this is strictly for the RHCE exam. So that command will be DNS record -add. So the domain is example.com, at MX record, that's what we're using. And I will explain this while we're going through the classes. I'll explain you the reason why we did that for the postfix, which is going to be one of the RHCA exam objective. So, and do not forget the dot at the end of it. It's very important. There we go. Alright, looking good so far. So that's pretty much what we need to do on the IPA side. So what we're gonna do now, on the next video I will show you how to configure server 1 and server 2 to be able to authenticate it with the IPA server. But as for the IPA configuration, this is all we have to do here. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like it, put thumbs up, and I'm very glad to read your comment.